brought Aras and Toyman closer to the same hidden past. Without Ether's young man fully understand why their paths keep meeting, Toyman has started to feel that the story he once told about his own life may not be complete while Aras is getting closer to the palace where Dammer once lived. The latest official preview also point toward Toyman questioning whether he was adopted and Arask reaching a locations connected to his missing brother. This creates one a very strong possibility for the coming story. The real mystery may no longer be simply where Dammer is. The real mystery may become who Dammer has been living as all these years. If that predictions prove correct, the next stage of the 17s will not only give Aras a new clue, it will completely change the meaning of Toyman life, Sabnam's fear, Hakan's behavior, and almost every strange connections that has appeared around the Akaya family. Before moving deeper into the predictions, it is important to look back at what his previous story achieved. The accident did not simply create physical dangers, it left several characters emotional exposed. Toyman became more suspicious of the adults around him, especially because he feels that important part of his past were begin hidden from him. Aras continued following the small informations left behind by Sahrat, and that search gave him another possible road toward his brothers. At the same time, the trust between Aras and Lala became weaker, while the arrivals of Dogans added another persons to an already complicated situations. Most importantly, Arask and Toyman reach the same places while following different questions. That is not a small detail in a mystery story. When two characters who are searching for different answers are repeatedly pulled toward the same people, the same memories, and the same places, it usually means that the two mysteries are actually one mystery. That is why my strongest predictions is that Era searching for Damar and Toyman search for his real identity are about to become connected in a directive way. The writers may not reveal everything immediately, but they have no palace the two boys close enough to the trust that keeping their stories completely separate would becomes very difficult. The school fire may be one of the most important pieces in his new stage. On the surface, it looks like another dangerous incident that puts the characters under pressures, but Toyman reactions make it much more meaningful. The official trailer indicates that the fire excuse a serious emotional shock for mind him and that Dennis tries to pull him out of that state. My prediction is that the fire will unlock something inside Toyman's memory. It may not give him a complete picture because forgotten childhood memories rarely returns in a simple and perfect form in this type of drama. Instead, Toyman begins seeing broken image. He may remember smoke, a frightening child, somebody carrying him away, a voice calling another name, a door, a hospital, or even a symbol connected to the place where he lives before becoming part of the Akaya family. At first, these pieces may confuse him more than help him. He could even believe that they are only nightmares created by the shock, but as similar details appear in Era's investigations, Toyman may slowly understand that this image belongs to a real event from his childhood. This is where Denise could become much more important than she has been until now. Her role may move beyond simply begins the person who cares about Toyman. She may become that one person Toyman feels safe enough to trust when his entire identity begins falling apart. If Toyman starts to believe that he was adopted, he will probably not immediately go to Sabnam and demand every answer. He really has reasons to suspect that the adults around him are hiding some things. He may fear that asking Too directly will only gives them to create another story. Dennis, however, has no reasons to protect those old secrets. She can listen without judging him and help him separate real memories from fear. This may bring Dennis and Toyman emotionally closer, but I do not think their connections will become peaceful, yet Toyman will be angry, frightening, and confused. Someone who has always believed he knows his family may suddenly begin questioning his name, childhood, parents, and place in the world. Even when Dennis tries to help, he may push her away for a short time because accepting her spot would also mean accepting that his life is no longer under his control. Arask, meanwhile, Bill properly enters the next stage of the search with more hope than he has felt for a long time. Finding the place connected with Dennis is not the same as finding Stammer, but for Arask it will feel like reaching the first solid part of a bridge he has been trying to build for years. He will want to search every room, every old photograph, every neighbor's memory, every document, and every person connected with his house. Yet I accepted the palace itself to create more questions that answers. The writers are unlikely to let Aras enter the house and immediately discovers a photograph of Toyman with Damer's name written under it. The revelations may probably come in stages. Aras might find an old marks on a wall, a childhood object, a date, a school papers, a piece of clothing, or an old family photograph with one face missing. He may discover that the child who lived there disappeared suddenly. He may also hear that somebody powerful came after the disappearance and made sure the neighbors stopped asking questions that would transform Era's search from a family search into a much larger investigation. Hakans may become the most important persons Eras want to question. The trailer already places Eras in front of Hakan while explaining that he is searching for his brothers. These confrontations could become a major turning point because Hakan's reactions will matter more than anything he says. If Hakan is innocent and knows nothing, there should be no reasons for him to fear Era's question, but if he has been involved in hiding Stammer's identity, even a small change in his expressions could tell Eras then he has finally reached somebody who knows the trust. Hakan may try to act claim. He may ask why Eras believes Stammer. He has connections with the family. He may pretend to discover how much Eras already knows. The dangers for Eras is that Eras has spent too long begins missed. He is becoming later at noticing when people's avoiding a direct answers. He may leave that meetings without proof, but he could leave with something almost as useful. Currently, that Hakan is afraid of the same Damar. If Hakan realizes how close Arak has come, his next move may be to control the evidence entered rather than attack Aras openly, as open attack could only confirm Aras' suspicious and could bring attention from Lala. Dennis Toyman and other people. A more intelligent move would be to remove all records, pressure witness, or send Aras toward a false lead. We could see Hakan contact somebody from the past who helped hide the trust years ago. That person might be told to disappear before Aras reached them. Another possibility is that Hakan arrange for an old fire to show that Tamer died years ago. If Aras receives official looking proof of Damer's death, I would be emotionally devastating, and Hakan might hope that the full search finally ends, but such a plan could create the exact opposite result. Arask has already survived Aras has too many lies. A convenient death sacrifice appearing just when he reached the Akaya family's secret would probably make him even more suspicious. Sabnam's positions could become even more difficult than Hakan's because her emotional connections with Toyman appear central to the secret. The official summary says that her effort to protect her sons will make the hidden family matters even heavier. That wording strongly suggests that whatever Sabnam does next will come from fear of losing Toyman rather than simply cruelty. My prediction is that Sabnam knows at least part of the trust about Toyman's early childhood. She may not be the person who created the entire secret, but she could be the person who accepted it and thus spent years convincing herself that keeping silence was necessary. She may believe that Toyman in her sons because she raised him, protected him, loved him, and built her life around him. If Aras is really connected to Toyman through Damar, Sabnam may see Aras not as a young man searching for his brothers, but as someone who can destroy her family and take Toyman away from her. That difference is perspective will make Sabnam more dangerous because she may believe she is doing the right thing. A villain who acts only for money can some things be predicted easily. A mother who believes she is protecting her child can cross almost any lines while telling herself that is necessary. Sabnams may begins by asking Stoyman to stop investigating the past. When he refuses, she could become more emotional. She may tell him that old stories will only hurt everyone. She may remind him of everything the family has done for him. She may try to make him feel guilty for doubting the people who raised him. But Toyman is already too suspicious for emotional pressures to work for long. The more desperately Sapnam tries to close the subject, the more clearly Toyman will understand that there really is something to hide. Her predictions could before become the reasons he finally discovered the trust. One possible sense could involve Toyman quality searching through old family documents while everyone believe him asleep or away from the house. He may begin with simply things such as birth record, childhood photograph, hospitals information, school involvement papers, or family albums. At first, everything may look normal, then he might notice some things. Everything may be normal, then he something strange. Perhaps there are no photograph of him as a newborn. Maybe the first clear photograph begin when he is already several years old. Perhaps a date on one document does not match the story Sabnam always told him. Maybe his blood group create a question. The clue does not need to prove adoptions by itself. In fact, it will be stronger if it only gives Toyman and others reasons to doubt. He could then compare that clue with the memory of awakened by the fire and realize that the earliest memories do not belong to the house where he believed he grew up. Eras could be doing some things very similar at the same time. While Toyman searches inside the Akaya home, Eras may search the old palace connected to Damar. This would allow the story to show both young men discovering opposite heads of the same trust. Toyman could find evidence that the came from somewhere else, while Aras could find evidence that Damar was taken somewhere else. The audience would begin seeing the connections before the characters are ready to accept it. This is an effective way to build tensions because every new clue would push them closer together. Perhaps Toyman find a childhood object that means nothing to him, while Arask remembered that the same objects belongs to Damar. Perhaps Arask find a photograph with only part of a child's face visible, while Toyman later find the other's copy hidden among Sabnam private things. Nathar's clue would be enough alone, but together they could become impossible to ignore. The most dramatic possibility is that Toyman himself is Damar. At this stage, I think the series wants review to consider that idea strongly. It may still introduce another twist by the another part. Twist the connection is becoming difficult to ignore. Aras is searching for a brothers who vanish from his life. Toyman is questioning whether the family identity he has always known is genius, and both search keep moving toward the same hidden history. If Toyman is Damar, the several reveals should not happen as a simple happy reunion. It could be one of the most painful moments of the series. Arask would finally find the persons who has spent years looking for, but that person would not remember begin his brothers. Toyman would gain a brothers at the exact moment he feels he is losing the parents. For Arask, finding Damar would feel like a victory. For Toyman, learning that he may be Damar could feel like the destruction of his entire identity. This difference could create conflict between the brothers before it creates closeness. Arask may becoming emotional and expect Toyman to understand immediately. He might believe that blood and childhood should be enough to reconnect them. Toyman could react very differently. He may feel trapped. He might think Aras is using his confusion into force another identity onto him. If evidence begins proving that they are brothers, Toyman may refuse to call himself Damar. He may live as Toyman for years. His friendship, mistakes, relationships, fears, success, and memories all belongs to that name. Discovering that he had another name as a child would not erase the life he was built. This could give the series a much more interesting emotional story than a quick reunion. The question would not only be whether Aras find Damar, it would be whether Aras can accept that the brothers he get lost grew into someone he does not really know. Aras will also have to face his own expectations. His search has probably created an image version of Damar inside his mind. When we miss somebody for years, memory can freeze that persons at the age when we lost them. Arask may still emotionally sees his brothers as the child who disappears. If Toyman turns out to be Damar, Arask will need to understand that the child he remembers no longer exists in that form. Toyman has had experience Arask knows nothing about. He has attachment to people Arask may hate. He may love Sabnam even after learning that she helped hide the trust. This could be extremely difficult for Arask. For his point of view, anyone involved is taking Damar away stole years from both brothers. He may expect Toyman to become angry and those people immediately instead. Toyman could defend the women who raised him. That could create a painful but believable disagreement. Sabnams may use exactly this emotional difficulty to keep Toyman on her side. Once she realizes that the trust cannot remain completely hidden, she may change her strategy. Rather than deny everything, she may reveal only the part that makes her appear sympathetic. She could admit that Toyman was not born into the Akaya family but claimed that his original family abandoned him, placed him in danger, or was unable to care for him. She may say that she saved him. She might even have documents or witness that supports part of the version. This clever part could be that some of what she says could be true. The best family secrets are rarely built on one complete lie. They are built from pieces of trust arranged in a misleading way. Arask may have been separated for damage through Christmas dance more complicated than he knows, and Sabnam may have entered the story after the original separation. This would allow her to say that she did not steal Toyman, still hiding how she helped prevent his real family from hiding him. Hakan, however, may know the darker part. He could be connected to the moment when Damar's identity was changed. Perhaps somebody believed the child has witnessed something dangerous. Perhaps Damar was placed with the Akaya family as part of an agreement. Perhaps there was money involved, family pressures, or an old crime that had to remain hidden. The series has respectively connected Ara's search with powerful adults and secrets that go far beyond a simple missing person story. So I do not think the answers will be that Demet simply became lost and was later adopted by chance. There is likely to be a deliberate decision somewhere in the past. Somebody made sure Damar become unreachable. Somebody benefit from Eras never finding him, and if Toyman is Damar, somebody also benefited from Toyman growing up without remembering who he was. The school fire could connect it directly to that past crime. My prediction is that the fire may remind Toyman of another fire or emergency from his childhood. The current fire could act like a key, opening a locked room in the memory. He might remember adults arguing, he might remember begins carried out of a building. He could remember hearing the name Dammer without understanding why it affected him. He might also remember Arastro only as a face or voice he cannot place. This would be especially powerful because Toyman could begin experience familiarity around Arask before knowing the reasons a place Arask visit might feel strategy no to him. A childhood story Arask tell could use a sudden headache, a emotional reaction, something Arask owns could see. Familiar toy mind might intentionally believe Arask has, however, searched his past and is manipulating him, leading to another confrontations between them. Dennis could become the first person to notice that Toyman's reactions to Arask is not ordinary anger. She may see that certain words or places produce fears rather than simple frustrations. Because she is close to him, she may begin keeping track of these reactions. Perhaps she remembers something Toyman says while confused after the fire. Later, when Arask described Damar's childhood, Dennis realized that the details match. This would put her in a difficult position. Should she tell Toyman immediately and risk pushing him into a trust he is not ready to face, or should she investigate first? My predictions is that Dennis choose to investigate quality. She may even speak with Arask without telling Toyman. If Toyman later discovered this secret meeting, he could feel betrayed by the persons he trusted most, creating another emotional obstacle. Before the trust come out, Laila's story will also becomes more complicated because Ara's obsessions with finding Stammer consumes everything around him. The previous part already tested the trust between Lala and Aras. In the next stage, Lala may understand why Aras cannot stop, but understanding does not mean she will expect every danger decisions to make Aras could start hiding information from her because he wants to protect her. He may believe that the closest to get the Akaya secret, he may dangerous if it becomes from anyone standing beside him. Lila, however, may sees secretly and another of mysterious. She discovered that Aras met Hakans entered the dangerous locations or followed someone alone without telling her. She could feel that he is pushing her out of his life. Their relationships might be for becoming stronger emotionally but weaker in daily trust. Dogan arrival should not be ignored. Nether's new characters rarely enter a story at the exact moment family secret begins breaking. One without having some purpose. The official episode 11's information presented its arrival as something capable of changing the balance around the Akaya family. My prediction is that Dogans know more about the family than the first show. He may have heard old stories from his own parents. As the son of family friend, he could have access to memories from the time when Toyman first appears in the Akaya household. He might remember some things from childhood that Toyman does not. Perhaps Dogan's once hears adult discussing the strange way Toyman joined the family. Maybe he saw an old photograph or noticed that everyone was old, never to ask certain question. At first he may keep silence because he does not understand the importance. Rather, when Toyman directly asks about his childhood, Dokan could accidentally reveal the first fact Sabnam cannot explain away. Another possibility is that Dogans become a tool for the adult. If Hakan knows Eras and Toyman are getting too close to the trust, he may encourage Dogan to spend more time around Toyman. The purpose would be simple: distract him, watch him, and report what he is investigations. But Dogans may not remain loyal once he understands what is happening. He could begin as somebody who follow the family instructions and later become uncomfortable when he sees Toyman suffering. This would give him a reason to switch sides at an important moment. Instead of begins another romantic or social complications, he could become an unexpected witness who gives Toyman access to information from years ago. The next major discovery may involve a name change. If Toyman truly lived as Dahmer when he was younger, changing his identity would require more than simply calling him by another name. Record would have needed to disappear to be changed. Somebody may have created a new birth history, move him to another school, or arrange medical documents. Around could discover that Dahmer official trail suddenly stop at the exact time Toyman began. That kind of parallel would be much harder to dismiss as coincidence. For example, Erasmus learns that Dahmer disappears during a certain month, while Toyman earliest records under his current name begin shortly afterward. He could bring this information or Toyman, but Toyman may still demand strong proof because accepting it would mean questioning every person he considers family. A DNA test appears like the obvious solutions, but I do not think the series will allow it to solve everything quickly. If Aras proposes a test, Toyman Fight refuses at first. His refusals would not mean that he does not believe the possibility. It may mean the opposite. He could be terrified that the result will confirm that he already suspects. As long as he does not take the test, he can still tell himself that his life may be exactly what he believes once the result exists. There is no easy way back. Dennis may understand these fears better than Aras. She could tell Aras indirectly that pushes Toyman too hard will only make him turn towards Sabnam for safety. Aras will need patience, and patience is difficult when he has already spent years waiting. Sabnam may secretly try to stop and DNA test. She could remove a sample, change paperwork, or arrange a false result. This could become one of the most tense a part of the story because viewers may know that trust is begins manipulated while Aras and Toyman do not image a first result saying that they are not brothers. Arask would be crushed while Toyman might feel both realize and a strange disappointment he cannot explain. Hakan and Sabnam would believe the danger has passed, but Dennis or Lala could notice something wrong with the process. Maybe the laboratory information does not match. Maybe another character saw some things and terrifying. Eventually, a second test could be taken secretly, or that result could become the dead true in confirmations. However, the writers may choose an even more emotional proof before any scientific proof. Toyman might remember some things only Dahmer could know. Aras could describe a childhood moment that was never written anywhere and never told to Akaya family. Perhaps the brothers had a private game and a secret hiding palace, a nickname or a small promises. Toyman could suddenly complete the memory without realizing what he is doing. In that instant, Arask would understand before Toyman does. He would need a document to recognize his brother's. Toyman seeing Ara's reactions would realize that something impossible that just happened. This could be the moment that breaks his denials and send him searching for official confirmations himself. That information recognitions would also give the actors spaces for a powerful scenes without using a large action sequence. Daha 17 is strongest when external mystery and proposals pain move together. A brothers fighting brothers in meaningful not because a secret has been solved but solved. Both young men have lost years they are never recover. Aras could remember birthdays, family moment, and difficult years when the founded whether Stammer was alive. Toyman could realize that somewhere outside the Akaya home there was a brothers who never stopped looking for him. This knowledge could produce guilt even though Toyman did not wrong. He may feel guilty for having lived a comfortable life while Aras search. Aras is returns may feel guilty for not finding him a secret. Sooner's Nathan's guilt may be would be responsible, but what would be emotionally believable. The adults' reactions could divide the entire family. Some relatives may support Sabnams and argue that rising Toyman make her his true mother regardless of biology. Others may become angry that she allowed him to live without knowing his origins. Hakan may insist that the old decisions was necessary for protection. Toyman may then face the most painful questions of all, whether the pupils who loved him also lived to him. Love and betrayal can exist at the same time, and the series could use the contradictions very effectively. Sometimes may truly love Toyman. She may also knows hidden the trust. Hakan may geniusly believe the protected family. He may have committed serious wrong. Toyman will not be able to place everyone into simple categories of good and bad. Arask will have less sympathy for those explanations from his positions. The result is simple. The lost his brothers. Every adult who knew that trust and remained silent. Trust and helped continue that loose. This difference between Eras and Toyman could become one of the central conflict after the revelations. Toyman might say that the seed's time before judging Sabnam's. Eras may feel that time is another gift she does not deserve. Toyman could defend the life he lived, while Eras focused on the life that was stolen from them. Both would have understandable reasons, which is why their first day at Reunited Brothers may be far from peaceful. The mystery could become even larger if Damardy's parents was connected to Ara's parents. We may discover that the original separation was not random. Perhaps somebody from the Akaya circles knew family before the boys were separated. Maybe the same people who are hiding Stoim and identity were involved in what happens to their parents. If so, Era's goal will change again. Finding Stammer will no longer be the end of his missions. Instead, his brother's identity will become the key that open the final investigations into what happens to the Wolf family. Hakan may therefore fear Aras not because Aras can take Toyman away, but because Toyman memory can expose an old crime. A young child can witness some things without understanding it years later. One smell, place, sound, or image can bring that memory back. The fire may be especially significant if smoke or flames were present during the original event. Hakan could notice Toyman beginnings to remember, and Biff comes from more frightening that Sabnam. Sabnam worries about losing her sons emotionally. Hakan may worry about losing his freedoms, reputations, or entire family structures. That difference could eventually cause Hakan and Sabnam to turn against each other. Sabnam could reach a point where protecting Stoyman meant telling the trust, while Hakan will want silence at first. Both adults may work together to keep Aras away, but when Toyman's mental state becomes worse, Sabnams may see the damage their lies are causing. She could decide that one controlled confession is safer than a lot. Toyman to discover everything from Aras. Hakan may strongly oppose this. The argument could reveal that Sabnam does not know every detail. Ethers perhaps she believed one version for years and only then realized Hakan lied to her as well. That would shift Sabnam for protector of the secret into another person searching for the trust. If that happens, Sabnam could eventually become an unexpected source for Arash. She may never fully join his side, but she could give him one important object or name because she wants to protect Toyman from Hakan. This could create a much more layered story than simply making her the enemy. She might quality gives Aras an old address and ask him not to tell Toyman where it came from. Aras would naturally distrust her, but the clue could lead to the persons who originally handled Damar's disappearance. Lala might be the persons who help Aras see that revenge and trust are not the same thing. Once he became convinced Akaya stole his brother's anger could control his decisions. He may want to expose immediately. Lala could warn him doing to so before understanding the wild story might hurt Toyman more than anyone else. Arask needs to remember that the goal is not simple to punish the pupils who lied. His first responsibility is to the brother he spent years trying to find. If that destroys Toyman world is one night, findings him could become Rathers and other form of losing him. This could improve the relationship between Lala and ask after their problems instead of solving that problems. Through a romantic moment, the writers may allow Layla to prove her importance through action. She can stand beside Arask while she challenged him when he became reckless. Arask may intentionally interrupt this as lack of support, but later realize she is protecting him from making a decision he would regret. Their relationships can therefore mature through the central mystery rather than feeling separate from it. Dennis and Lala could also begin working together. Dennis had access to Danny's Toyman emotional side while Lala understands Aras. If the two young men become enemies while the trust is emerging, Dennis and Lala may realize they need to stop the adults from using that conflict. They could compare what each other's brothers know and discover that both have been given different version of the past. This cooperation might expose the false information faster than Ethers, Eras, or Stoyman could manage alone. And another prediction concerns Herat mysterious clue information he managed to leave Eras should continue to matter. It may not have been only as address. It could refer to a person who knew Mightly Damer as a child. Arask might eventually locate an older witness who remember both boys. That persons could be frightening to speak because of threat from the past. At first they might deny everything, but when they see Toyman, their reactions would reveal recognition. The witness does not even need to state Toyman is Damer immediately. A frightening look, an old nickname, or a confused reaction would be enough. Toyman may realize the strange know him even though he has never met them under his present identity. That would be another wall of Daniels falling down. The coming episode may therefore end without giving you the complete another but with a major confirmation. It expects the final moment to bring as a Toyman closer than even to understand their connections. One possible ending would have asked finding an old childhood photograph of Damer where the resemblance to young Toyman is possible to ignore. Another possibility would show Toyman secretly opening a hidden box belonging to Sabnams and discover that evidence of another name. A third possibility is a memory flash in which Toyman finally hears someone calling him Damer. The strongest choice would be the memory reveal because it connects directly with the fire trauma already begin teased. Toyman could return home after the school fire still shaken. He might try to sleep but continue seeing pieces of the past. During one final memory, he could see himself younger, hears Arask's voice, and understand that the name begins called belongs to him. He wakes in shock at almost the same time. Arask finds proof that Damer survived. The episode could end by the cutting between the two brothers, each now holding on half of the answers. If the writers wants to delay the brothers' reveal slightly longer, they could instead introduce a different twist. Toyman may be connected to Damer without actually begins Damer. Perhaps Toyman lived with Damer or witnessed what happens to him. This alternative could explain the memories and hidden adoptions while keeping Era's searching live. Yet I think this possibility is weaker because the current storylines is bringing Toyman identity question and Ara's search together very directly. The more emphasized Toyman wondering may have even if Aras move closer to the Direct family connections become Daha 17 internationally make viewers believe Toyman is Tamir before changing the answer that if happened the purpose would probably be revealed that the trust is bigger than one missing brother. Toyman could be another child connected to the same event. Damer may have been with him. Sebnam and Hakan may have taken Stoyman while somebody else took Damer. Aras could then discover that the Akaya family is one branch of a much larger secret. For now, though the emotional structure strongly favor the brother theory, Aras represents a young man denied by the family he lost. Toyman represents a young man who may discover the family he has is not the family he was born into. Bringing those two characters together create a perfect mirror. One has spent years trying to recover his past. The other has spent years living inside a past that may have been created for him. This is also why the title Daha 17 continue to work around the emotional idea of young pupils begin forced to carry problems created by adults. Eras and Toyman did not choose the secret around them. Whatever happens year earlier came from decisions made by older pupils, yet they are one who once have to carry the pain, doubt, anger, and consequence. The next story can depend that theme by showing Toyman realizing that the entire life may have been shaped by one adult's decisions made when he was too young to understand. Ara's personality may always change after the research hit this stage. Until now moment he's kept him alive. Emotionally he could always tell himself he had another clue to follow. If Toyman is confirmed and Damer that long search suddenly and this sounds positive but an ending can create emptiness too. Arask may realize that finding his brothers does not automatically repair the years between them. He cannot return to childhood. He cannot simply continue from the day Damer despair. He has to build a new relationships with Toyman from the beginnings. Toyman may demand that Arask stop calling his Damer. This world hurt Aras deeply but would be understandable. Aras may believe that the name Damer is proof of their connections. Toyman may feel that using it erased the persons he became. Their eventual understanding could come, whereas accept that his brothers can be both Damer from the past and Toyman is the present. Identity does not have to be a choice between one life and the others. Sebnam could hear that acceptance and realize something important. She may have feared that Aras wanted to remove Toyman from the family completely. When he sees Aras respecting the life Toyman built, she could become less defensive. That might finally allow her to tell the full story. She may explain why Toyman came into her life when she was told what she knew and what Hakan forced her to keep secret. Of course, her confessions will probably contain another surprise. She may reveal that she was originally told Damer family was dead. Perhaps she did not know Aras survived. If true, this could change how Aras sees he should will be responsible for later silence if she eventually learns more, but the original situations would become less simple. Hakan could then emerge as the persons who maintained those deceptions. Perhaps when Sebnam later discovered that Arabs lived and searching, Hakan convinced her that revealing the trust would place into Toyman is dangerous. He may have created evidence suggestions. Aras was connected with dangerous people. Sebnam fear could therefore have been manipulated for years. This would explain why the current secret feels so difficult for her. She is not only protecting Toyman from Aras, she may be protecting herself from admitting that she believed Hakan's story for too long. Once she tells Toyman the trust, she will also have to admit that some of the choices were based on fear rather than certainty. The next part could bring the first serious break between Toyman and Hakan. Toyman may begin asking simple questions and receive angry responses. Hakan's mistake will be underestimating how much Toyman already suspects. Every attempt to control him will become another clue. Eventually, Toyman may tell Hakan he no longer wants explanations and will search for proof himself. If that point Hakan could make a dangerous decision, he may revenge for Aras to be removed from the situations before Toyman learns more. This does not necessarily mean an attempt to kill Aras. It could involve forming him from a crime, creating evidence that he attacked somebody, or making Toyman believe Aras has dishonest motives. For example, Hakan could create a story that Aras is trying to claim memory or property by pretending Toyman in his brother's. Toyman, already emotionally unstable, might briefly believe it. This would produce a painful scene where Aras realized that after searching for his brothers for years, his brothers not think he is using him. Layla could help expose this false story. She may find evidence that Hakan created the executions. Once Toyman understands he was manipulated again, his trust in the Akaya adults could collapse completely. That may be the point where he finally agrees to investigate with Aras instead of against him. This first investigation together could become a major chance in the energy of the series. Aras knows the past from one side while Toyman has access to the family from the inside. Together they would be far more dangerous to Hakan than Athers one alone. Aras can follow outside witness and all locations Toyman can access: private room, family records, all contact and conversations. Dennis and Layla may help them without the adults knowing. The four young characters could form a quiet alliance based and uncovering the trust. This would also allow the series to balance emotional scenes with mystery and tensions. But even after Aras and Toyman begin working together, their personalities may clash. Aras could want immediate actions while Toyman wants careful proof. Aras has lived outside the Akaya family protections and is used to taking risks. Toyman has moved too close inside that world. Every trust that they uncover could destroy another relationship's big value. The story may use Dogans to create pressure inside the new alliance. If Dogans is loyal to Hakan, at first he might discover Toyman searching's private file and report it. Yet after seeing Hakan's reactions, he could realize the secret is far more serious than expected. He may the warn Toyman that documents are about to be destroyed. This warning could lead to a race against time. Aras and Toyman may enter an old office, strong room, family property, or closed buildings to recover records before Hakan removed them. The sequence could give the next episode a strong thriller feeling. Inside those records, I might find the name of our doctor, social worker, lawyer, police officers, or family employees connected with Toyman childhood. That persons could become the next major target of their investigations. The old witness might intently refuses to speak, but Aras can bring something personal connected to Tamer. When the witness realizes Aras truly is the brothers, the emotional weight could finally break years of silence. They may reveal that a child was transferred under another identity after a serious incident. Still, I expect one final piece is to remain hidden by knowing that Toyman was Damer answers who he is, but it does not answer why somebody changed his identity. That questions can carry the story forward for several episodes. The answers may connect it to money, inheritance, a hidden crime, or the Akaya family old enemies. It could also involve Damer witnessed something connected to the death or disappearance of Arask's parents. If the child knew too much, changing his identity may have been a way to make him disappear without killing him. Such a revelation could place Toyman a new danger once his memory returns. A Khan or another older figure may realize that the secret cannot be protected simply by hiding documents anymore. Toyman himself has become the evidence. This creates a strong reason for Aras to become protective of him even before their relationships is fully repaired. Toyman may dislike begins treated like someone who needs saving, but Arask will not risk losing his brothers against after finally finding him. Dennis may also refuses to leave Toyman alone, especially after seeing his reaction to the fire. Her loyalty could become one of the few stable things in his life. When parents' name, childhood memories, and family stories become uncertain, Danny's presence reminds him that not every relationship depends on his past. Their emotional bond could depend quality rather than using a dramatic romantic declarations. The series could show Danny simply remaining beside him during the roast period of his life that would feel more natural and powerful. Lala can play the same role for Aras, but she may demand honesty in return. Aras cannot continue using protections and an excuse to hide everything from her. If he wants her beside him, he needs to trust her with the dangers as well as the hope. This could lead to the stronger recognitions between them. Their recent problems would not disappear, but they would understand each other's better. Lala may tell him through her actions that begins afraid of someone is not a reasons to make their choices for them. The family mystery will make put Aras is moral situation he has not faced before. Suppose he find evidence that can destroy Sabnam publicly. Does he release it immediately even if Toyman Hakan asked him not to? Suppose Hakan offered the complete trust in exchange for Aras remaining silent about another crime. Does Aras accept because finding the trust about Dammers matters more, or does he refuse? These choices can show Aras growing from someone driven only by lust into someone capable of thinking about the consequence of trust. His brother's return should change him just as much as it changes Toyman. Toyman development could be even stronger. He may begin this part frightened by the idea that he is adopted. Later he could reach a place where he understands that learning the trust does not make his current life meaningless. The people he loves are still part of him, even if some light. Aras is still his brothers, even if they grew up apart. The name Dammer may eventually become something he chooses to accept privately. He may not replace Toyman completely, but he could recognize it as part of himself. Perhaps only Aras is allowed to use the old name in certain emotional moment that could create a personal bridge between the brothers. One especially emotional possibility is that Toyman eventually remember Aras protecting him when they were children. Until that point, Aras' attachment could feel one-sided because Toyman cannot remember him. A restored memory could finally show that the bond exists no both sides. The memory could return during another dangerous moment. Arask may protect Toyman in the present in exactly the same way he protected Damar in the past. The similarity triggers the childhood scenes, and suddenly Toyman remember his brothers not as a stranger searching for him, but as someone who was always there before the was separated. That could become the moment he finally expects Aras emotionally, even before every legal or historical detail is solved. Shabnam seeing the brothers reconnected would be both painful and freeing. Her greatest fear would become true. Toyman has discovered him other family, yet she may also realize that Aras does not want to erase her. The real enemy was never the exist of the another brothers. It was the lie that forced everyone to live in fears. Hakan may not reach the same understanding if these positions depend on the secret remaining hidden. He could become increasingly desperate. His careful control may turn into mistake, and those mistakes will expose more evidence. Actually, even pupils who once spotted him could begin stepping away. The Khan family may reveal old information, a worker may decide to speak, our relatives may admit they always suspected something strange about Toyman arrivals. The trust would then spread beyond Hakan's ability to manage it. The next sessions of the series could therefore move from mystery toward confrontations. The first half asks whether Toyman is connected to Damar. The second half asks who created the false identity and what they were trying to hide. Yet I do expect the immediate next part of the answers everything. The series needs to present suspense. She will probably receive one large revelation and several new connections. My prediction is that the large revelations will concern Toyman identity, either direct proof or a powerful memory will establish that these connections will Damar is far strong than coincidence. The new questions will concern Hakan, Sabnam and the original incident that separated the brothers. The episode may close with Aras finally understand that the final has been searching for has been near him without neither of them knowing. That realizations could change the meanings of all the previous encounters. Every argument, every strange feelings, every moment when their paths crossed would suddenly look differently. Arask may think about how many times he stood close to his brothers and walked away because he did not know. Toyman may wonders why Aras always created an emotions in him that he could never explain. For viewers kind in this the reveal that reward earlier scenes without needing to repeat them. At the same time, the story should not forget the threat surrounding that the characters. Someone has protected this secret for years. That persons will not simply accept defeat because Aras find another clue. The closer Aras and Toyman get, the more dangerous the situations can become. The first itself may even prove that someone is already trying to destroy evidence or frightening them away from the past. If investigators discover that the school's fire was not an accident, the mystery could expand again. Perhaps the target was not the whole school. Maybe somebody wanted to destroy a particular room, file, or object connected with Toyman early records. That would explain why the fire appears at exactly the moment His identity is beginning to collapse. Toyman could later remember seeing someone near the fire before it spread. At first, his trauma makes the memory unclear. When the pictures become sharper, the recognize a person connected to Hakan. This would give him proof that the danger is presents not only part of an old story. Aras may then itself that Toyman leave the Akaya home temporarily. Toyman could refuse because leaving could feel like admitting that Hakan's control his life. Instead, he may stay and pretend has no longer wants answers while secretly investigating. This would pull Toyman in a more active positions. He could no longer be only the young man discovering secret about himself. He would deliberately use the fact that Hakan believes he can still be controlled. He might acclaim during family meals, ask harmless questions, and quality watch reaction. He could begin learning how adults lie when they think a child is not paying attention. Whereas outside the house would continue following the old trail. Their investigations would finally work together. Danit Mice passes information between them when direct meetings are too dangerous. Could then Eras check names, address, and old relationships. This would make the younger characters responsible for finding a trust that adults spent years hiding. The emotional price will remain high. Toyman may discover that one childhood memories he considers happy happening after his original identity was removed. He could question whether those memories are someone false. Dennis will needs to help him understand that a memory can be revealed even when the story around it was alive. His love for people does not disappear simply because they find him. Aras may also need to hear this. He might want Toyman to reject the Akaya completely, but that would ask him to erase most of his life. The brothers can only truly reconnected when both accept that Toyman past has two parts. This is why I believe the series will avoid turning the reveal into a simple victory for Aras. He will get what he wanted, but not in the form he imagining. The brothers he find has an other's name and other family and other personality and years of memories Arask did not share. Arask will have to earn a place in Toyman presence instead of relying only on their shares past. Likewise, Toyman will need to decide what begins Arask brothers means to him. Biology can reveal a connection, but trust must still be built. Their first reveal brotherly moment may therefore happen in a small way rather than through a grand speech. Toyman recalls Arask when he is frightening. Perhaps he chooses to follow Aras instead of Hakan's. Perhaps he quality gives Aras an object connected to Damer. That one choice could show that the relationship is beginning. Then the story could prepare in the next major's enemy. One Hakan's secret begins falling apart. Another person from the past may appear. This person could be the one Hakan himself fears. He may discover that Hakan did not create the original plan. He may continue it. Someone older, richer, or more powerful may have ordered Damer identity to disappear. This would explain why the secret survived for so long. That persons could also know the complete trust about Ara's family. It introduced carefully this which could present the story from ending too quickly. After the brothers reveal, Aras finally finds Damer, but the discover opens a new roads toward the people who destroy their family in the first place. Toyman would have a personal reasons to join the fight. He would no longer help only because Akaya's answers about his own stolen childhood. The two brothers could become very different investigators. Eras act from instinct and emotions. Toyman may use passion and access their difference create arguments but also make them stronger together. Dennis and Lella can continue grounding them emotionally when angers become too strong. Sabnam may eventually have to choose openly between Hakan and Toyman. I think she will choose Toyman even if that means admitting state on mistakes. Her turning point could come when Hakan places Toyman in direct dangers. Until then, she can convince herself that secretly protect him. Once Hakan hurt or threats him to keep the trust hidden, that belief become impossible. Sabnams could then release the evidence Hakan has spent years hiding. This would not erase what she did. Toyman may still need a long time before forgiving her, but it would give her a path toward repairing some of the damage. Hakan, on the other hand, could become isolated and more unpredictable. And the end of this first prediction section, the central idea is that the story is no longer asking who whether Era will find his brothers. The stronger question is what happens when the search begins pointing directly Toyman's toward. The official material has now placed Arask near Damer Old Trail and Toyman near the questions of whether the family story surrounding his birth is true. Those two developments are too close connected to ignore. My prediction is that Arask will move from searching for a missing person to investigating a stolen identity. Toyman will move from questioning his parents to questioning his own name. Sabnam will become increasingly desperate because she knows the secret can change her relationships with her son. Hakan will try to control the investigations because he has more to close than he admits. Dennis he become Toyman's safest emotional support. With Layla with help, Ara stop anger from destroying the very reunion he has spent years trying to achieve. The fire will likely act more than physical danger. It can evoke pieces of Toyman's childhood memory and connect it the present crisis with an older hidden event. The old house connected with Tamer can provide Arask with physical evidence that his brother's story did not end where he once believed. Hakan's reactions to Arask can reveal fear and Sabnam's attempt to protect Toyman may accidentally prove that his suspicions are connected. By the end of coming stage, I expect Eras and Toyman to have enough evidence that the possibility of a sheer head can be no longer to dismiss. They may still fight against what the true trust means, especially Toyman, but the mystery will have crossed a point where returning to normal life is possible, and that is where Daha 17 can become even stronger. The search for Damer may finally give Aras an answer, but the answers can create a complete new story. Finding someone is not the same as getting them back. Learning your real identity is not the same as knowing where are you belong. Loving the people who raised you don't know erase their lives, and discovering a blood brothers does not instantly create years of missing memory. The next part can place all of those questions in front of Aras and Toyman at the same time. Aras may finally stand faces to face the brothers he has searched for, only to discover that the hardest part of his journey is beginning after the search, and Toyman may finally learn so many adults behave becomes frightening whenever he asks about the childhood only to discover that the answers changes the meaning of every family relationships around him. Sabna may discover that protecting someone through lies eventually becomes another way of hurting them. Hakan may discover that a secret surviving for years does not mean it can survive forever. Dennis may become the person who helped Toyman remain himself while two different identities fight inside him. Lala may become the person Arask that trust without patience can destroy who remind Aras that trust patience can destroy the people it is supposed to save. And someone behind all these characters, the forgotten story of Damar will begin returning piece by piece. For years, that story belongs to the past. Now it moving directly into the parents. The biggest prediction is therefore not simply that another clue will appear. It is the entire directions of Daha 17 is preparing to change. The story of young man searching for his missing brother may soon become the story of two brothers discovering that others people rewrote their lives. If Toyman is truly Damar, the trust has been standing in front of Arask without a name he could recognize. If Toyman is not Damar, then her hidden identity is still almost certainly connected to the same mystery, meaning the road toward Damar is passing through him. Ether where Toyman has now become central to Arask's search that make the next revelations unavoidable. The only question is how much trust the series will reveal at once and how much pain the characters will have to survive before they can finally understand that happens all these years ago. The next stage of Daha 17 can become much darker because Aras is no longer chasing a mystery that exists only in old memory. He is not now getting close enough to the trust that the people who protect the trust may begins to feel threatening. Until this point, Eras may mainly be the one searching, asking questions, follow clue and trying to understand why so many pieces of his brother's disappearance do not fit together. But once those reasonables realize that Eras is connected to a man uncontained past with Tamar, disappearance, the directions of the story can change completely. Eras may stop being the hunter and become the person. Begin watch every move he makes could be noticed. Every person he questions could be pressured. Every new clue could place somebody in danger. This is where the mystery can turn into a struggle between the younger generations trying to understand what happened and the older generations trying to make sure the past remained viewed. Toyman will probably be at the center of the struggles without understanding immediately how important he has become. His questions about adoption are already dangerous because they are not only questions about his family. They may be questions about a hidden crime. If art truly has a connection with Tamar, then every memory that returns to him can become evidence. The adult around him many therefore becomes more interested in control his emotions than answering his questions. They might tell him by confused because of the school fire. They could say that trauma is creating false memories. They may encourage him to rest, avoid harass, stop searching, and forget the strange image coming back to him. On the surface, this can look like concerns. Underneath, it could be an attempt to stop him from remembering. This creates an interesting prediction from Sabnam. She may secretly believe that Keeping Toyman claim is the best things from him, but she will also know that the claimer he became, the easier it will be to guide him away from the trust. His behavior could become a mixture of love and fear. She may stay close to him, prepare everything he needs, try to keep Dennis away from difficult conversations, repeat yet every time he says these things, Toyman may feel more suspicious. Why does he mother's suddenly needs to remind him that he belongs there? Why does she become uncomfortable whenever he asks about his earlier childhood? Why does she change the subject when he mentions or ask why are there contains years in the family albums where almost not photograph exist? Those small details could become more important than any direct confessions. Toyman may begin trusting Sabnam rather than questioning her openly. Instead of asking whether he was adopted, he could pretend that he has remembered some things very specific. He might mention a place, a name, or an object and carefully watch her reactions. If Sabnams react too strongly, he will know that the memory has touched something later. This could show a new sides of Toyman is he would no longer be only confused and emotional. He could start becoming strategic. He may understand that when adults have died for years, direct questions will not produce direct answers. If he wants the trust, he will have to learn how to make the people around him reveal it without realize they are doing so. One possibility is that Toyman tells Sabnams that during the first fire he remembered a woman calling him Damar. He may not actually have heard the full name. He might simply use it trust her. The moment his words leave his mouth, Sabnam expressions could change. He might drop something, become silent, or immediately ask where he heard that name. Toyman could then understand that Tamer is not a random word. Even if Sabnam quickly recovers and claims she has never heard it before, the first reactions would already have given him the answers he needed. From the moment Toyman investigations could become personal, Arask meanwhile could be dealing with a very different kind of clue. The old place connected with the Damar may reveal that someone visited after the boy disappeared and removed many of his belongings. Perhaps our neighbors remember a black car and unfamiliar man or a woman carrying while carrying a box around could begin they could begin search for that person. The clue may leads him toward an old employee of the Akaya family, a doctor or lawyer or somebody who handled documents. These persons who have changed name, moved away, or refused contact for years. Aras would have to understand that they are afraid before he can make them speak. The witness could intentionally deny everything because speaking would reason something dangerous. Arask may become angry and accuse them of helping steal his brother's life. But the witness might respond that things were not as simple as he believes. They could say that Damar was dangerous and that moving him was supposed to protect him. This sentence would completely change Ara's thinking. Until now, he may have assumed that whoever took Damar's did it selfish reasons. But what if someone originally moved the child because they believe he would be killed if he stayed where he was? The problems could that be that protection slowly become permanent separation. This would create a more complicated history. Perhaps the people involved expected Arask and Damar to return later, but something happened that made the temporary solutions permanent. Maybe a witness died, maybe records were destroyed, maybe Hakan disordered the situation and realized he could use it for on his benefit. Perhaps Sabnams grew emotionally attached to the child and could not give him back. A decision get started, a protection could have turned into a lie that last for years. Eras may struggle with these ideas because it removes the simply enemy he wants. Anger is easier when one person is completely responsible. If the trust is made for several choices by several pupils, Arask will need to separate would try to save Damar from who later chose to hide him. These decisions could become important when he finally confronts Sabnams. She may instead that she does not take Damar to from his family. She may say that the child was brought to her already separated from them. Aras would probably not accept that explanations easily, but he may later discover that part of it is true. The series could use an old photograph as the next major clue. Era's mind find a picture taken year ago at family gathering. In the background, there is a young child who looks like Dammit. The child is standing beside Sabnam or Khan, but the photograph was taken before Toyman officially childhood record begins. This will be powerful because photograph can connect to different timelines without needing a long explanation. Aras could study the image repeatedly looking for details. He may notice the child clothing, a scarf, a bracelet, or another features that matches Tamer. The most meaningful details could be some things only Aras recognized. Perhaps Tamer wore a small necklace given to him by the Moor mothers. In the old pictures, the same necklace the pairs around the child's neck. Aras would know immediately that confidence is impossible. He may not yet whether the child is Toyman, but he would know the Damer was once physically close to the Akaya family. Aras could take the photograph to Toyman, but the meeting may go badly. Toyman is already struggling with the possibility that his entire past has been manipulated. When Aras arrives with another piece of evidence, Toyman may feel that Aras is attacking the only life he knows. He might excuse Araf of wanting the brothers he remembers so badly that he is forcing Damar identity on to anyone who fits the clue. Aras hurts and frustrated could respond too strongly. Instead of understanding Stoyman's fear, he may tell him that refusing to see that trust does not change it. This argument would be important because it shows that both young men are afraid of opposite things. Aras is afraid that after coming this close, he will lose Damar again. Toyman is afraid that if Aras is right, he will lose Toyman. Their conflict would therefore not be about whether they dislike each other. It would come from each of them protecting the identity that has kept them alive. Dennis may intervene after the argument. She could tell Arask that proof is not the only thing Toyman needs. He needs time. Arask may answers that he has already given the world year and does not have any more time to waste. Dennis could then remind him that Toyman did not choose any of this. He cannot punished because adults lied to him. This may force Aras to understand that his urgency, although understandable, can become another pressures placed on Toyman. These conversations could be one of the moments that makes Aras respect Dennis. Until now, he may mostly see her through her connections with Toyman, but once she shows that she understands how much the trust her both brothers, Aras could begin trusting her. He may even give Dennis the old photograph and ask her to show it the Toyman only when she believes he is ready. Dennis, however, could decide not to show it immediately. She knows that Toyman is already having nightmares after the fire. Another shock may make things worse. Instead, she could gently ask him about the necklace or object visible in the photo without explaining why. Toyman might say that he has been something like it in a dream. That answers would make Dennis realize the evidence is stronger than she thought. At the same time, Lela could begin noticing that someone is following Arask. Maybe the same car appears near different places. Perhaps a stronger strangers ask questions about where Arask has been staying. Arask may ignore these signs because he is focused on Demmer, but Lala will understand that getting close to the trust is creating new danger. She could start keeping record of listens, plates, times, and faces. This is one way Lala can become more active in the mystery instead of only reacting emotionally to Arask. Chooses she can help protect the investigations. Her attentions to detail may reveal that the persons following Arask work for someone connected with Hakan. When Aras learns this, he will finally understand that his threat is real. Somebody is not simply uncomfortable with his question. Somebody is actively watching him. The persons watching Aras may not be trolled. The entire reason they could simply be a hired man interested to reports where Aras goes and when who he meets. This is useful for Hakan because he can stay distance from anything illegal. If the watchers is discovered, Hakan can deny knowing him, but Lala could trace a phone calls, payment, or meetings that connect the surveillance back to the family. Hakan's greatest mistake may be believing the young characters are easier to manipulate than adults. He may think that Aras can be writing, Stoymans can be controlled emotionally, Dennis can be pushed aside, and Lala can be distracted. Instead, the actions may cause them to work together. Every attempt to separate them could make the group stronger. Dogans could become the unpredictable piece in these situations. He may notice family tensions long before anyone tells him what is happening because he Toyman does not. Maybe he remembers an old argument between his parents and Hakan's. Perhaps his father once said that Toyman's arrival in the family caused troubles. These memories may have seemed meaningless when Dognans was younger. Now they could become important. Dogans may first read the situations casually. He might tell Toyman that families always have strange stories, but when Toyman asks whether Dogans remember his all as a small child, Dogans could realize something surprising. He does not. Although their families were supposedly close for years, Dogan's earliest memory of Dogan could realize something surprising. He does not. Although their families were supposedly close for years, Dogan's earliest memory for Toyman began later than expected. This could support the idea that Toyman entered the Akaya family at a certain age rather than begins born into it. Toyman may ask why nobody noticed. Dogan's could explain that adults told the children Toyman had been living themselves elsewhere or was sick or for a long time. That story would suddenly sound suspicious. Toyman may understand that his lie was not only told to him, a whole social circle was giving explanations designed to present question. This would show how carefully his secret was constructed. Hiding a child identity for years required more than one person's doctor, school, relatives, family, friends, and neighbors would all need some explanation. Not everyone could know the trust, but many people could be given small lies. Ara's job would be all those lies and see more the contradicted each other. For example, one person may remember that Toymans came from a hospital and other may believe he returns from relatives abroad, someone else may had been told that he has been ill. These stories cannot all be true. Their difference would prove that he adults were giving different explanations depending on ask. Aras might created a timeline. He could write down the date Damar disappears, the first date Toyman appears in family photograph, the school registrations date, the fire or accident Toyman remembers, and the dates of all medical record. Once arranged together, the patterns could become clear. There may be only a few days between Damar despairing and Toyman's new identity beginning. This Toyman could become the first moment when Toyman cannot deny the possibility anymore. Facts are harder to escape that emotions. He might stare at the dates and realize that his earliest official record appeared just after Damar vanished. At that point, he may not say anything. He could simply leave overwhelmed. He may go to the place where the school's fire happened because the smell or sense has been ruling at his memory. Returning there voluntarily could trigger more fragment. He might remember being a small child hiding under a table during another emergency. Someone grabbed his hand. He hears another child carrying. Then a small voice says, "Dad, have no separate them." The memory could send before Toyman see the man faces. Still, it will would introduce a new possibility. Damar separations from Arask may have happened during choose, not through a simple kidnapping. Something dangerous happens around the boy, and adults make decisions quickly. Toyman may finally tells Dennis what he remembers. He could say that the strange part in the not image themselves but the feeling attached to them. The boy in the memory feels like him. Arask's voice, although younger, feels familiar. Dennis may carefully ask whether Toyman is ready to know the answers, even if the changes everything. Toyman may admit that he is not ready, but he also cannot continue living without knowing. These decisions could lead to the DNA test rather than Aras forcing it. Toyman could be the one who suggests it. That would be an important character's moment because it shows he is choosing trust instead of having trust forced upon him. He may contact Aras quietly and ask him to meet alone. Aras could properly expect another argument. Instead, Toyman could place a testing kit or laboratory information on the table. He might say that if truly believes they are brothers, that they stopping guessing. This would affect Aras deeply because it means Toyman is finally along the possibility they may agree to keep the test secret until the result arrives. Only Dennis and Leila know this secretly in necessary because both fear that Hakan or Sabna may interfere. The sample could be sent under different names to avoid attention, but someone may still discover it. Dogans could accidentally hear our conversations to see her Toyman leaving the clinic. The question becomes whether he tells the adults. At first, loyalty to his family connections may push him toward Hakan. Yet they might hesitate because Toyman trusted him. This could be the beginning of Dogan's moral struggles. Hakan could learn about the test through and other roads. Perhaps one of his contacts at the clinic organized Toyman's name. If so, Hakan would immediately understand that the secret is could be breaking. He may order the result changed. This creates a possible false negative twist. The result could say Aras and Toyman are not related. Toyman may feel sudden relied, allowed, followed immediately by disappointment he cannot explain. Aras could be devastated. He had allowed himself to believe he has finally found Demmer for a short time. This could separate them again. Toyman and return home determined to accept Could Shabnam's story, he could even apologize for doubting her. Shabnam's may carry partly from relief and partly from guilt. Akan would believe he has solved the problems. Aras, however, may notice something's wrong. The results might contain a date, sample numbers, or laboratory signature that does not match. Leila may be one who stopped the insecurity become Aras is too emotional to look carefully. She should contact the clinic and discover that the samples was handled unusually. A staff members might admit that someone requested access to the file. This would prove that the result cannot be trusted. Now Aras would note that things the first test did not answer the questions the somebody created enough about the answers to interfere with in that second fact may be even more important than a positive result. If Toyman had no connections to Dammer, why would anyone need to chance the test? Ross could bring this evidence to Toyman. At first, Toyman may refuse to believe it because he just feels allowed himself to feel safe again. But when he sees the clinic record, anger could replace fear. This is no longer only about whether he is Tamil, it is about somebody continuing to manipulating him in the presence. That anger may finally push Toyman away from Hakan's. He might confront him indirectly, saying that he knows someone interfered with a medical test. Hakan could any deny everything, but perhaps he responds with information Toyman never told him. For example, Hakan may mention the laboratory before Toyman says where the test was performed. That mistake would expose his knowledge. Toyman may stake claim during the conversation and leave without revealing that he noticed. This would be a major change from these earlier emotional reactions. He is learning to hide what he knows. Afterward, Toyman could tell Arask that they need a second test done somewhere Hakans cannot reach. Arask may suggest traveling to another city or using Aura private service under false name. The two brothers could provide samples without telling anyone else except Dennis and Leila. During the wait for the result, the story could focus on their growing connection. Neither want to admit how much the answers matters. They may spend time together because the investigations require it through ordinary movement. Aras begins seeing parts of Damar's Toyman habits. Maybe he eats something the same way, reacts to a childhood song, or makes a gestures their mothers used to notice. Toyman may become uncomfortable when Aras points these things out. He does not want every part of himself explained. Evidence that he is Tamar Arask will need to learn not to turn Toyman into a collections or memories. A powerful scene could show them sitting silently after an argument. Aras eventually said that whether their test is positive or negative, he no longer thinks Toyman is only a clue. They have been through too much together. This would allow Toyman to understand that Ara's interest in him has become personal beyond the search. This is important because if the result is positive, their relationships will already have begun uh, before biologically confirm it. Meanwhile, Sabnams may start senses that Toyman has changed. He became quieter around her. He stopped asking questions openly. Parents often noticed silence more than argument. She may realize that Toyman has not stopped searching. He has simply stopped telling her what he is doing. Fear could make Sabnam check his room, phone or computer. She may discover the timeline, the photograph or message with Aras. Seeing the evidence could break the emotionally because she understands how close he is. Instead of immediately telling Hakan, Shabnam may hide the discovery. This could be the first sign that her loyalty is shifting. He may fear what Hakan will do if he knows. Toyman is still investigating. Her greatest goal has always been to protect Toyman, and she may begin realizing that Hakan's definitions of protection is more dangerous than Aras. Sebnam could secretly visit someone from the past, perhaps an old woman helped care for Toyman when he first came to the family. This woman may know the original story. Sebnam could ask whether keeping silence was a mistake. The woman might tell her that silence stopped begins protect years ago. She may remind Sebnam that a child eventually becomes an adult and deserves to know who he is. These conversations could push Sebnams toward confessions, yet before she can tell Toyman Hakan's may discover what she is planning. He might warn her that revealing the trust will not only destroy the family but also expose something Stoyman cannot emotionally survive. Hakan could claim that the full story is much worse than she knows. This may introduce a new secret. Perhaps Tamar disappearance is connected with the death of someone close to Aras. Hakan may suggest that if Stoyman remember, he will blame himself. Maybe the child accidentally caused and even witnessed our death or was used by adults in a dangerous situations. Sebnam could hesitate again because she fears giving Toyman a memory that will destroy him. Hakan would use this fear to regain control, but the series could later reveal that Hakan extricated or invented these dangers. His greatest weapon is making people believe that trust is more harmful than the lie. Whereas investigations might expose the technique, he could find another person's Hakan frightening into silence. The witness may explain that Hakan told everyone different stories about what happens if the spoken one person was to told the child would be killed, another was told they would be arrested, another was told the family wanted no contact. This pattern would prove that Hakan maintained the secret through fear rather than one constant story. Aras may realize that even Sabnam could have been manipulated. This does not make him forgive her, but it changed her strategy. Instead of confronting her with anger, he might try something unexpected honesty. He could meet Sabnam alone or tell her exactly what he wants. He may say he is not trying to take Toyman away, he only wants the trust. He could describe how long the search for Damar and how many nights he wondered whether his brother was alive. Sabnam might try to remain good, but listening to Araz speak about Damar as a real child rather than a threat could affect her deeply. She has spent years thinking of the past as something dangerous. Aras remind her the past contained love too. Aras could show her the childhood necklace or photograph. Sabnam may recognize it immediately. Perhaps she has another matching them hidden somewhere. His reactions arouse confirmations even before she speaks. She may finally admit love. One small pieces. Toyman was not with her from birth. This would be a huge moment, even if she refuses to say more. Eras would not Toyman adoptions fear incorrect. Toyman would know his full life story was false. Sebnam may insist that Toyman is still her son. Eras could answer that nobody is questioning the year she raised him. The Toyman is dead. She took away his right to know where he came from. This argument could break Sebnam because it touched the guilt she has been avoiding. She might explain that when Toyman came to hers, he was frightening, injured, and barely speaking. He had nightmares. He did not remember his full name. She will told his family could not be found. This would make the story more emotional. Sabnam did not meet a healthy child and decided to steal him. She met a traumatized boy who needed care. She may have fallen in love with him as a son. At first, she might have believed the agreement was temporary. Then months passed. Toyman began calling her mothers. The old investigations disappeared. Hakan told her there was no family left to return him to. Years later, when Sabnam possibly learned that Aras existed, she faced a terrible choice. By then, Toyman had no memory of another family, revealing everything. Woodman telling her son that his entire childhood has been built on a lie. She chose silence. Aras may understand how the choice happens while still believing it was wrong. This is where the series can avoid easy molarity. Sabnam could then reveal that Hakan knows more than she does. She may have never learned exactly where Toyman came from that first night. This information would shift Aras' focus completely toward Hakan's. Before Aras can use it, Sabnam may ask him for something in return. Do not tell Toyman until she has a chance to speak with him herself. Aras could face a difficult decision. Toyman deserves the trust immediately, but Sabnam may try also deserve the chance to explain her role directly. That decisions may later create conflict with Toyman, who could feel the Aras joined the adults is deciding what information he was allowed to know. This would be a strong lesson to Aras. Even when acting from compassion, withholding trust can that decisions may later create conflict with the Toyman. Would could feels that Aras joined the adults is deciding what information he was allowed to know. This could be a strong lesson from Aras, even when acting from compassion while withholding trust can repeat the same mistake everyone else made. Sabnam planned confessions could then be interrupted. Hakans may create an emergency, send Toyman away, or confront Sabnam before she can speak. Perhaps he learned that Aras visited her. He might become furious and accuse her of destroying everything they protected. Sabnams could finally challenge him, asking what exactly they protected, Toyman or themselves. Hakan may have no good answers. Their argument could reveal that Hakan's motives were never only about Toyman. He may have been protecting another person's financial interest or crime. Sabnam could demand to how the original trust. Hakan may refuse. This could prove that even after years of marriage or family loyalty, Sabnam has been given only part of the story. She could decide to help Aras secretly. The second DNA result may arrive around this point. Rather than opening it immediately, Aras may wait for Stoyman. This small act the first time Aras treated the result mainly as the answers to his own search. Now he understands, now it belongs to the both of them. He could sit together while opening it. If the results confirm that they are brothers, the series should allow silence before emotions. Toyman may result the several times the trust they have been chasing suddenly becomes simple number and words on a page, not nothing's about their lives feel simple. Aras could start crying equality because year of searching have finally ended. Toyman may not cry immediately. Shock could make him almost Expressionless, he might ask one question, what was I like? This would be more powerful than asking whether the question is correct. It shows Toyman has already begun accepting that Demmer was him. Aras could describe small childhood details. Maybe Demmer hated sleeping alone, loved a contain food a lot, Aras everywhere, or had a habit of collecting little objects. Some details may make Toyman smile unexpectedly because they still match him. Others may feel like hearing about strangers. These scenes could remain gentle until Eras mentions their mothers or fathers. Then Toyman may becomes overwhelmed, revealing the held presence he cannot remember could make him leave. He may go to Sabnam. These confrontations could become the emotional center of this section. Toyman would not need to shout immediately. He could simply place the DNA result in front of her. Sabnams could understand that the secret is over. Toyman could ask why she never told him. Any answer Sabnams give will sound too small compared with the years she had. She may had she loved him. Toyman could answer that love should have given him the trust. She may say she was afraid of losing him. Toyman could reply that the lie is what is marketing her lose his now. This would be painful because both characters would be right about their feelings. Sabna may finally tell the story of the first night she saw him. She could describe a frightening little boy brought to the house after a violent event. She may say he barely spoke and had no idea where his brothers was. The word brothers could hit Toyman deeply because Araz has just been confirmed. Sabna may admit that the boy sometimes called the name Araz in his sleep. That details would prove she knew where there was another child connected to him. Toyman could become furious and ask why she never searched for Aras. Sabnam might say Hakan told her Aras was dead. This introduced another lie. If Hakan convinced Sabnam that Aras died, then he deliberately prevented a reunion. Toyman angers would now turns toward Hakan. Sabran could try to stop him because she knows Hakan's may be dangerous when concerned. Toyman may say she is ignorant, begins protecting through lines. He could leave the house and go directly to Aras. This would to be the first he chooses Aras over his family that raised him. Aras may expect Toyman to be angry at him for revealing the trust. Instead, Toyman could ask if he can stay there for the night. Aras would understand how much that request mean. He may prepare a place for Toyman without making the moment too emotional. The brothers could spend their first night under the same roof. Since childhood, Nathan may know how to behave. Aras might want to ask 100 questions but stay quiet. Toyman could walk around noticing little things about Aras' life. Perhaps Aras still has an old toy belonging to Demmer. Toyman may find it holding it colder, bigger. Another memory time. This time he remembers Aras giving it to him. The memory is short but warm, unlike the frightening fire image. That destruction matters. Toyman past is not only trauma. That wears happy moment too. He may begin caring for the first time. Aras find him with the toy and understand they do not need a long conversation. Aras may simply sit beside him. This quiet sense could be the turn's beginning of their reunion. The next morning, however, reality returns. Hakan may already know Toyman did not come home. He could send people looking for him. Sabna may refuse to tell Hakan where he is, openly choosing Toyman. safely over Hakan control. This would depend the split inside the family. Hakan could threat Sabnam with the consequence of help Ara. She might reply that the consequence of helping Hakan have already been worse. From here, Hakan may stop pretending. He could decide that Aras must be removed completely, but killing or attacking Aras open is too risky. Instead, Hakan may use the legal system or police. He could frame Aras for stealing documents, entering private property, or threatening the family. If Aras is arrested, Toyman will face an immediate test of loyalty. Hakan tells him that Aras is dangerous and that this proves why they kept him away. Toyman, however, now knows how Hakan manipulates stories. Instead of believing him, Toyman may search for evidence to clear Aras. This could become the first mission that Brothers faces, where Toyman is dead, one saving Aras. He might use security footage from the family property, message or Hakan on records to prove Aras was set up. Dogons could help access something Toyman cannot read. This would finally place Dogons on their side. Dogons may admit that Hakan asked him earlier to watch Toyman behavior. Toyman could feel betrayed at first, but Dogons might hand over the information he collected instead of giving to Hakan. Among those details could be something important: the name of the man who followed Aras. Lala may recognize the man. The group can connect him to Hakan. That evidence would get Aras released and put Hakan under pressure. Most importantly, it would show Toyman publicly chooses Aras. Sabnams may see that keeping the brothers apart is no longer possible. She could decide to reveal another hidden items. Maybe she has kept Toyman original clothing from the night he arrived. Instead, it be labels with the name Demmer or the intentions from his original family. She may have hidden it for years because she could never bring herself to how it throw it away. Giving it to Toyman would be her first completely honest act. Toyman might ask why she kept it, wanted him to forget. Sabnam could say that she never wanted to erase who he was, she was simply afraid to face it. This does not end forgiveness, but it makes her more human. The clothes might contain another clue overlooking for years, such as a hospital's band address or a symbols. Aras recognize the locations. It cloud leads them toward the place where the original separations happened. The brothers may decide to visit together. Returning there could be dangerous, emotional for Toyman, but he insists the locations may now be abundant. As they walk through it, Toyman memories become stronger. He remembers Aras holding his hand. He remembers adults shouting. He remembers being separated. Most importantly, he remembers Hakan's face. This would be the moment the story shifts from suspicious to direct executions. Toyman may realize Hakan was there on the day his identity changed. Everything Hakan said about learning the story later becomes false. Toyman might want to confront him immediately. Aras may surprisingly be to the one who stops him. This show Aras has learned patience. He tells Toyman that a memory matters, but they need proof. Hakans cannot dismiss. The brothers decide to investigate together. They search the abandoned place and find sign that records one exist there. Perhaps an old storage cabinet has been emptied, but one document remains stuck behind our drawer. The paper includes Hakan's signature. It may not explain everything, but it proves he was involved. Now they have something physical. Hakan could learn that they visited the site and panic he may realize the original record were not completely destroyed. He could send someone to burn or demolish the locations. This creates another fire connections. Eras and Toyman may bravely escape before evidence is destroyed. The attempt destructions would prove how desperate Hakan has become. Toyman trauma may returns during the fire, but this time Eras is beside him. Instead of freezing completely, Toyman follows Eras out. This mirrors the childhood memory and strength their bond. After escaping, Toyman could remember one more detail. Another man was present years ago. Hakan was not alone. This opened the next mystery. Who is the second man? He may be the true achievement of everything. The second man could connect to the larger family history, financial power, or old crime. This prevents Hakan from begins the final answers. Toyman and Raz could realize that exposing Hakan may only reveal the first lawyer. The real danger is still outside their view. Sabnam may know the second man's name, but the terrified to say it. Perhaps even Hakan tears him. When Aras asks Sabnam, she refuses at first. She would say that if they continue, they will bring back people who have stayed away for years. Aras answers that those people never truly want and away. Their discussions have controlled his life the entire time. Toyman agrees this is another important set because he now speaks about the past as something that belongs to him too. He is no longer investigating only for Aras. The story can also depend lawyer role here. She may research the second man connections and discover that he has influence over business officials or family network. This explains how record disappeared so easily. Leila could ask that they cannot fight someone like this with emotions alone. They need evidence strong enough that this cannot be erased. Dennis may focus on Stoyman's mental state. She sees that every restored memory brings both trust and pain. Toyman may begin sleeping badly, feeling disconnected from his name and avoiding mirrors because he wonders who he really sees. Dennis can remind him that identity is more than childhood records. He is still the person's form. Every year he remembers finding Stammer does not destroy Toyman. It explains another part of him. The idea could become central of this growth. Toyman may eventually choose to keep him current name while accepting Stammer as his first birth name. He could tell Aras that he cannot become the little brother Aras remembers. Aras may answer that he does not need him to. He only wants the chance to know who he is now. That would heal one of the biggest tensions between them. For this point, the brothers' relationships can become warmer. They might joke, awkwardly disagree over small things, or discover shared habits. These ordinary moments are important because if every interaction is about trauma, the reunion would feel incomplete. A simple breakfast, shared joke, and argument about music can show them becoming a family in the present. Sabna may observe this from a distance and feel both sadness and reveal. She sees the Aras is not taking Toyman away, he is giving him something she could never provide. The missing part of the history. These realizations could help Sabnam finally cooperate fully. She may bring Aras and Toyman fee every documents she has hidden. Among them is an old letters. The letters may have been written by someone who know the boy real family. Perhaps it said that if anything happens, Dammer would be protected until Aras can be found. If such letters exist, it proved the separation was originally meant to be temporary. Someone deliberately prevented the second part of the plan. The signatures could begin belongs to the mysterious second man or to someone who later despairs. Aras might recognize the handwriting. The letter could mention his parents. This leads to another emotional revelation. Maybe their parents knew dangers was coming and arranged a backup plan. Aras may have spent years thinking nobody protected them, only to learn that someone died. But that plan was betrayed. The questions become who betrayed it. Hakans may have taken control after the original protectors died, or the second man may have decided keeping Stammer hidden served another's purpose. Um, this can take the mystery toward inheritance or family power. For example, Dammer identity may matters legally perhaps, and a serving child he has a claim to property shares or evidence connect with something's valuables. Changing the identity would be for not only hide a witness, it would move and here this would give the older villains financial motives, but the series should not let money replace emotion. The strongest part remains the stolen family connections. Arams may not care about inheritance at all. Toyman may even reject it, yet the money explains why powerful people spent years protecting the lie. Dogan could become useful is tracing financial records through his family connections. He might discover transfer made around the years. Toyman entered the Akaya family. One payment went to a doctor, another went to a lawyer, another went to a man who later despairs. These records from a chain, the group begins contacting each person. Some refuse to speak. One may already be dead, another may admit to create false paperwork but claim they never knew why. Each witness give a small pieces. Eventually, the piece point toward a secret meeting held after the accident. Hakan attended. Sabnams did not. This proved Hakan's control more for the trust than she knows. Toyman could secretly record Hakan's during a confrontation. He may deliberately mention the old meetings to provoke him. Hakan might deny it, then accidentally reveal specific details. The recordings could become powerful evidence, but Hakans may realize too late that Toyman is recording. This could lead to a physical confrontation. Aras arrive in times to protect him. For the first time, Hakan sees the brothers standing together openly. That times together both sides of the story. Aras has the memory of the family before the disappearance. Toyman has access to the life created after it. Their combined knowledge can expose everything. Hakans may then try one final emotional strategy. He could tell Toyman that Aras will eventually leave once his mystery is solved. He may say Aras loved Damer and not Toyman. This could touch Toyman deepest fear. This could touch Toyman deepest even after accepting their brotherhood. He may wonder what Aras is only attached to a childhood memory. Aras must prove otherwise through actions, perhaps when a new clue per demand. Um, Chasing the villain and staying with Toyman during a crisis. Aras chooses Toyman. He lets the clue escape rather than abandon his brothers. That choice shows Toyman he matters more than he investigations. Later, Toyman may be the one who pushes Aras to continue searching. This creates balance. The brothers are no longer using each other to solve the mystery. They are supporting each other while solving it. Lala could notice this change and tells Aras he looks different now that he is no longer searching alone. Aras may admit that fighting Damer did not give him peace immediately, but it gave him a reason to think about the future instead of only the past. This can also strengthen his relationships with Lala. For years, Aras' life may have revolved around loss. Now he had some things to build. Toyman may experience the opposite process. His future once seems clear, but now the past has interrupted it. He will need to rebuild his ideas of family. Tennis can help image a future where he does not need to choose only one family. Eras can be his brothers. Sebnums can be the woman raised him through trust must be repaired. His biological parents can matter even if cannot remember them. Toyman does not have to erase one relationship to recognize brothers. This mature understanding could eventually become the emotional answers to the adoption mystery. The legal can crime questions may remain, but Toyman evidently becomes his own decisions rather than something adult defined for him. Hakan may be the only person unable to accept his change. His power depends on controlling the story. Once Toyman starts defending himself, Hakan loses that control. Desperations can make Hakan reckless. He may contact the mysterious second man for help. This could be the first time Weaver sees that Hakan himself is afraid. The second man may warn him that the situation should have been handled years ago. Hakan could say Aras was never supposed to find the trail. The man might respond that Aras was underestimated. These scenes would confirm the conspiracy extend beyond the Akaya family. The second man may order Hakan to bring Toyman somewhere. Hakan could refuse at first because, despite everything to care about him, the introduce a small human limit. Hakan may be willing to lie, threat, and manipulate, but not hand Toyman over to someone dangerous. If so, Hakan could eventually turn against his former partner. This would complicate the villain structure's futures. The person who hide their trust